Hello, welcome back for Unit 2 of our American History 2 course here at Waldorf Online. And this week we're turning our focus to the Gilded Age and Progressive Era, as they're commonly known, this time period from about 1880 to 1914. So we're kind of at the end of the Reconstruction period in the American South. We've moved well beyond the American Civil War, and we're moving towards a more modern America. We still haven't made it quite to World War I, and this week we'll take a look at some of this content, both in our readings, and then we'll work on it on our assessment, and then we have a discussion board as well this week. So first, let's talk briefly about the discussion board and how the class is going so far. So the first week, pretty straightforward discussion board that didn't take any research. One of the things I want you to see is bring things in to support the arguments you're making on the discussion board. You should do that in your assessment, especially in those essay responses as well. But make sure that you are doing a little bit of research. I have those research resources over on the side tab that can give you a lot of different options. There's the National Security Archive, and there's all sorts of links to primary source sets, the National Archives, or Library of Congress. Some of those kind of things can help underwrite your credibility. I think that's one of the most important things you can learn while working on your historical research skills over the next 8 weeks, no matter what field you're in. The idea that we all need to be using quality evidence to advance the arguments that we're making is something that benefits not just historians, but all people. So I really challenge you to do that in this course. It's a thing that we can all work on that will give you something tangible as you come out of the course that you should be working on. So as we take a look at the discussion board this week, you're going to talk about, was the Progressive Era the right name? One of the things I'd caution you towards is, I'm a believer that progress is usually in the eye of the beholder. We can see all sorts of examples of this throughout history. Usually I challenge students to think about progress, and when you say progress, it's progress for whom? Who benefits? Because usually you can find a group or people that don't agree that it's progress. I think we can see this in our own political climate, where if something happens on one side of the political aisle or the other, it's great progress, and the other side, it's the worst decline that's ever happened. And we want to make sure that we're cognizant of that when we talk about things like the Progressive Era. People have also called this era the Gilded Age, a term originally coined by Mark Twain to talk about kind of this veneer that's on the outside that makes things look great, but the underlying conditions aren't so good. But you'll learn about a lot of that stuff as you work through the course content this week. So put some thought on that discussion board. I'll talk about it a little bit more in the video over there. You also have an assessment this week where you have to be a little bit creative. Sometimes people don't think about history as being a creative pursuit, but in this exercise, you're going to have to show empathy and put yourself in somebody else's shoes, a migrant or immigrant from that 1880 to 1940 time period. I think that's an interesting exercise because it allows me to maybe think about my own ancestors. A lot of my ancestors came to the country during this time period, or the time period immediately prior. Some coming from Sweden and settling in a farming community in western Nebraska. And then on the other side of my family, Irish immigrants coming to Chicago to work in the very industrialized stockyards in the city there. So when we think about some of these different things, I think we can link into these past experiences to better understand these moments. So make sure you're setting aside some time for that assessment so you can do some research to underwrite the creative part. I really will challenge you, especially from a scoring perspective, on the assessment to make sure that you're not just using it as a free writing exercise where you don't really do any research. I want you to be bringing other things in that will underwrite your credibility, even on a creative exercise like this. So some of the ways to do that are maybe to consider quantitative evidence. What kind of statistics can you bring in? How much are you getting paid an hour? How many people lived in your community? How does it stack up compared to where you used to live? All those kind of things I think can help move this from kind of a creative writing exercise to one that can be useful for us historically. So make sure you're putting your best foot forward there. As always, if you have questions, make sure you're reaching out. I think we're off to a pretty good start in the course. I appreciate the hard work you've put in so far, and I look forward to the great things you're going to do this week. Good luck.